Good morning, everyone. We're up just ever so slightly earlier, not a bunch. We're going to go grab some breakfast here, and then we're going to head up about 65 kilometers to get to the location of the ferry in St. Barbe's. So let's get started here, and we've got that ferry ride to go today. It is a little bittersweet about heading out this morning. In one way, I'm excited about setting foot in Labrador, and a little sad about leaving Newfoundland. Newfoundland really is enchanting. I hope my videos have given everyone a wonderful glimpse of what Newfoundland has to offer. The land is beautiful and the people are charming and pleasant. We continue north on the Viking Trail until we turn off for St. Barbe. There isn't much in St. Barbe, but they do have an Ultramar and hardware. The ferry terminal sits at the top of the hill from the ramp. During peak summer months, we found out you need to book early. Off to our right is the Long Range Mountains. As I mentioned in last year's video, the Long Range Mountains are an extension of the Appalachian Mountains in the United States. In 2003, it was decided that the Appalachian Trail would run through the Long Range Mountains. In 2006, a portion of the trail was opened.
Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry.
Unfortunately, we lost yesterday's sunshine for our coastal ride, but luckily the rain stayed at bay. This sparsely populated area makes for a scenic ride, though. It's just beautiful here.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. My appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby.
After a short stop at the ferry terminal to get our tickets and find out exactly what we're supposed to do, we head down to the ferry ramp where we start getting in queue with other riders and other vehicles. It's here we meet Don from Indiana. Boy, what a nice gentleman. He was there with one of his friends, and it was a pleasure to talk to him.
Okay, you ready?
I am. Go.
Yeah. Anyway, my name's Don. I live in a small town in southern Indiana, North Vernon. It's by Columbus, Indiana. And me and my buddy are just out beating about, drinking beer and drinking coffee in the morning, and we're heading to Goose Bay, Labrador, Goose Bay, Happy Valley.
Very good. How far have you ridden? Did you ride all the way from Indiana?
Yes, we've ridden approximately 3,500 miles so far.
And how many days? How long have you been on the road?
We've been 2 weeks.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
No.
Yeah.
2 flat tires.
That'll happen.
And other than that, and laying on the middle of the road in Halifax.
Oh no!
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So,
are you going to go all the way then? Once you get to Goose Bay, are you going to go all the way? You're going to come back across the ferry?
No, we're turned around because we want to do Prince Edward Island.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful there. Yep.
In the Gaspé Peninsula.
Okay, yeah. Hey, did you do the Cabot Trail yet?
We will going back.
Back. Good. Yeah, that's well worth it. That's
And
really
then,
cool.
Yeah, we're probably going to be out another 3 weeks. That'd be my guess.
Perfect.
Yeah,
What kind of bike you got?
it's a BMW 1200 RT. I have 120 some thousand miles on it,
Wonderful.
and
So you've been all over the place.
yes, all over Europe, Cuba,
Oh wow, cool.
covered all of United States. We did 7 countries in Europe, so
Cool.
yeah.
So you shipped them over there? Did you fly them or?
We rented bikes.
Oh, rented?
there.
Mm-hmm.
And then my best trip was New Zealand.
Oh, cool. Yeah, everybody wants to go there.
I rented a bike, and I did 3 weeks on each island, and it was probably the most rewarding and best trip. The country is just incredible.
Yeah, the scenery's unbelievable, isn't it?
The scenery's unbelievable, and,
Yep.
and it truly is like the U.S. was in the 1960s when I grew up.
I got you.
So that's why I
There's
go.
kind of a little bit of a time capsule there. Yeah.
Most definitely.
It gives it some charm, doesn't it?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
I understand that. Well, it's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for giving the interview here. It's always fun to see fellow riders out on the road. You
right.
take care.
See you.
Wow, what a pleasure it was to meet Don and his friend, who was a little camera shy and didn't want to be on camera, but we talked for quite some time. These world travelers have been all over the world riding motorcycles. What great adventurers they are.
But I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak just my mind. Oh.
The ferry ended up being about a half hour or 45 minutes late, so we got a little bit of a late start, but the crossing went really smooth, and when we got to Blanc Sablon Harbor, we saw some minke whales, which was really cool. I think the trip took us about 2 hours to 2.5 hours. We could see from the ship as we were docking that the landscape was completely different over here where we were at. It was very barren, rocky outcroppings, but really no trees whatsoever. So it was just a different view to it. And because the clouds were hanging so low in the sky and kept it kind of dark, kind of gave it a little bit of an eerie feeling. We also had to dodge a couple of icebergs that you'll be able to see here in the video, not the ones we were dodging, but you can see that there's icebergs in the bay. We also met one other motorcyclist on the ferry that we became quick friends with. And right here he is. He's kind of a man of mystery. I'll leave it go at that. But later on, we adopted him. In a future episode, I'll fill you in.
Ice and fire. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight.
We had originally debated whether or not we would take the highway to the southwest. It doesn't go through, but would have given us a chance to see some more areas accessible here off the Labrador Highway. But because of the delay in the ferry and the crossing, it was late enough that we decided it was just getting too late in the day that we wouldn't do that. Whether or not it would have been worth it, I don't know.
My appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, 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 oh.
Our motel was a converted house in L'Anse de Blanc Sablon. If memory serves me correctly, there were 4 bedrooms in the house. We were upstairs and the other guests were downstairs. Each room was lockable, and all went well until the next morning, when we discovered the guys downstairs had stolen all the toilet paper. A little annoying, but maybe they had the scoots. After dropping our gear off at the motel, we hop back on the bikes in search of dinner. We head north on the Labrador Highway to the small village of L'Anse Au Clair. As you can see, Blanc Sablon has a fair amount of residential homes. This once small fishing village is now a bustling place due to the ferry terminal, and I imagine the now entirely paved Labrador Highway has increased tourism, which also increases the need for more workers. I believe the ride to L'Anse Au Clair was just 8 kilometers. You go around the point here and get up on top on the flat portion, and it's no time at all. You end up at the provincial border with Labrador, and you're right back on Newfoundland time, which is an hour-and-a-half difference. So within 8 kilometers between the towns here, there's an hour-and-a-half difference. I don't know how the locals deal with it. I'm sure they're used to it. Usually, time zones are determined by longitude, but clearly here it's provincial. And just like that, here we are at the Labrador border. I finally made it, and I can check it off the list. We eat supper at the Northern Light Inn. They have a nice in-house restaurant with numerous choices to pick from. Without question, I can recommend them. On the way back to Blanc Sablon, I was able to get these really good videos of the icebergs out in the bay. It was a little easier to video them going downhill than it was when we were headed to L'Anse Au Clair. Tomorrow we'll be heading out on the Labrador Quebec Highway, heading west. But for now, here's Gord with the map details.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the conclusion of day 18. It was a short day. Most of our mileage was covered by a little bit by ourselves this morning, but also by the ferry to cross the strait that exists between Newfoundland and Quebec, which you see here. We started out from Torrent River earlier this morning. Beautiful day again. A little fresh, but nevertheless sunny, and no precipitation, which is always a blessing. We proceeded up the coast and then basically got on the ferry and went across. And I'll show you the detailed view with a little bit more detail on the ferry crossing. So flipping over to our Newfoundland map, you can see our location here at Torrent River. We proceeded along the coastline. Again, a very pleasant drive all day. We stopped at the St. Barbe ferry terminal here. We had made previous reservations to get on board the ferry, and it's certainly something that's recommended if you consider this journey. It's a very inexpensive crossing. It was $18 Canadian for each of us, a total of $72 for all four of us to cross on the ferry. It's an hour and a half crossing. The water was quite nice. A few icebergs floating around, a few whales to be seen included. And we landed at the other end at a place called Blanc Sablon in Quebec, right, as you can see on the map here, right on the edge of the provincial boundary between Quebec and Labrador. So you'll find it quite interesting in this area because there's an hour and a half difference between Blanc Sablon and if you cross over to Labrador. Because they are on Newfoundland time and Quebec is on Eastern time. So you're going to find a bit of a time zone frenzy when you cross there. Nevertheless, smooth journey, interesting looking terrain, fairly austere, but nevertheless comfortable and with all the required infrastructure, including fuel and food. So you don't have to worry about that part if you're coming up this way. So tomorrow begins our real adventure, transiting through Labrador, and you'll see us following the Trans-Labrador Highway all the way up through into the northern reaches of that province before we turn and head west again and end up in Quebec for our return leg to head home finally. So I hope you've enjoyed it so far. Hope you enjoy this little journey we're taking, and we look forward to talking to you tomorrow. So bye-bye for now.
Wow, what a great day we had. Even though it was kind of short in a sense of geographic movement, but we finished up our trek through Newfoundland, and we left St. Barbe's at about a little late, about a half hour late. The ferry was a little late, so we left there about 1:30 and sailed across the Gulf of St. Lawrence over to Blanc Sablon in Quebec. And as soon as we made landfall, we lost an hour and a half because we were in Quebec. And we traveled up the road in just about 8 kilometers, and we're in Labrador, and we're right back on the same time we were in Newfoundland. So I think we're going to stay on Newfoundland time here, because we're going to be in Quebec for just a short period of time, and just adjust for that hour and a half. Well, I hope you like this video today. It was fun-filled. We actually got a chance to see some whales, some icebergs, and we had a really smooth sail. And Roy didn't have any problems whatsoever with the ferry ride this time around. So everything's working out great, and tomorrow we'll start on our trek across the Labrador Highway. We'll see you tomorrow.